This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Today we're dealing with a Bosch washing machine that has a moldy door gasket or door bellows, and we're going to be replacing it. So I've got it unplugged. I'm prying the spring clamp off with the standard head screwdriver, and then I'm just peeling it off from the front panel. And I'm going to push it into the washing machine. I'm going to have this gasket go all the way in as far as I can, all the way around. And then I'll lift up on the bottom really powerfully to make the spring clamp on the inside let go. It's just a big spring. You have to use a fair amount of force, but you can get it loose. And the old gasket will come out. Here's the spring that holds in the inner part. And then we have this new part. We're going to be using some soap and water to clean the plastic tub. The rim also had some black mold on it, so we want to get that nice and clean before we put on the new gasket. We're also going to put this liquid soap on the inside rim of the rubber door gasket, the part that's going to come in contact with this plastic tub, and that's going to make it a lot easier for that gasket to slip, the ridge of the rubber gasket to slip onto the plastic tub. I got to make sure that I have the little holes, drain holes at the bottom at the 6 o'clock position. I'm going to push the rubber gasket into the washing machine, and then I'm going to push in the gasket, the front of it, like I did before, so it's inside the tub. And that's just going to help me to have a little more room to work. This is kind of a fast way to do this procedure. You can also take off the front panel, but you don't have to. You can do it this way. Now I've got my thumbs, and I'm going to push that rubber ridge of the door gasket onto the plastic tub at the 12 o'clock position. I'm going to get that thing in there, and then I'm going to start moving to my left just an inch at a time until I've got it all the way in. And now I've got the spring clamp put around the whole gasket, and I've got two clamps to hold that spring clamp in position at the 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock position. And I'm going to push down with my fingers to get that spring to go down into the lower parts here. I'm going to push it down to at about 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and push it all the way around. The spring's actually pretty easy to push once you get down to this lower part. These spring clamps really make a difference in being able to hold that spring into position. Otherwise, it'll just keep popping out. So I use these two pretty strong clamps that I got at the hardware store, and they hold that spring into the rubber gasket. The rubber gasket has a slot that spring holds into, but these clamps really make a difference to hold it in as I push down with my fingers to get it into the lower positions. If you don't have these clamps, you really need to have another set of hands to help you out. So once I get that pushed all the way into its slot, all the way around, I can remove my spring clamps. And that's really the only hard part of this procedure, is just getting that big old spring to fit into that rubber groove. These are what the spring clamps look like. A lot of hardware stores have those. Home Depot probably have it. So now I'm going to take the gasket and put it over the lip of the front panel. I'm going to use my fingers to just get that all the way around. And then I'm going to put a spring clamp to hold that on too. The spring clamp that holds this one on is a little bit easier to install. What I do to put these spring clamps on is I put a little liquid detergent on the spring clamp so it's somewhat lubricated, and then I put it in at the 12 o'clock position in the little slot that's on the rubber gasket, and then I use my two thumbs to push down at about 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock as I'm pushing down and then in to get that clamp to fit all the way around. Okay, so I've got the front of the gasket all the way in there, nice and solid. And now we can do the spring clamp. Here's a spring clamp. We're going to have the spring part of it down at the 6 o'clock position. You get the lubrication on there. And we'll install it first at the 12 o'clock position. And I'm going to push down with my two thumbs at about 7 o'clock and 5 o'clock. And then I'll push the spring in at the very bottom at the 6 o'clock position. Then you're really done. So you can actually do this kind of procedure on the Bosch pretty fast because you don't have to take off the front panel. There we go. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Sorry about the low lighting condition. And thanks for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.